Hello there and welcome to the garden. Today I want to take you through a late summer full garden tour, capture how everything is doing here as we get to the very tail end of the season. I've got like a beautiful, cool, overcast day, so I thought it'd be a perfect day to really show everything that's going on in both the front garden and the back garden and just take you through all of it. We're going to start over in the front garden because that is where all the flowers are really blooming. And it's been interesting this year to watch the progress of these gardens. If you are new here, this is my first season growing in both of these spaces. So we moved here in the winter. I sort of started setting these gardens up and they're still very much in progress. I would say that neither garden is fully at its complete state yet. So they're still very much a work in progress, but as the years go on, they're going to continue to grow. And just now, here at the kind of mid to end of August, they've started to really come into their own and actually sort of turn into a little bit of a garden space. So I want to give you an update, those full gardens, the fall pumpkin experiment. We're gonna check all of it out. So let's go up to the front garden and we'll take a look at everything growing in there. This garden has become just like pollinator central. It is full of butterflies. I see butterflies all the time over here, and we've got a lot of fun flowers growing. So this is sort of a mix of zinnias. You've got some Pinetree giant zinnias, some Isabella zinnias, some Queen Lime Peach, which I think are actually some of my favorites this year. Zinnias are probably my favorite summer flower. I love zinnias and cosmos. I love just like the classic, from seed annuals, and these are really beautiful. I want to do a ton more of these of zinnias cosmos next year, and also pincushion flowers. So this one is fading a little bit and this one's just coming out, this bloom, but this is the Black Knight pincushion flower. It's so beautiful. It's like that dark burgundy, black, brown, purple. I mean, just stunning. And I've got also over here some daylight cosmos, which are also just so gorgeous. Look at all of these. Like, is that not the most perfect cosmo bloom? These are really tall too. I mean, the whole plant is about probably 4 feet tall. So super, super tall and beautiful. I have a few that are falling over, so I'm definitely thinking like for next year, I'm gonna need to stake these a little bit. But they're really stunning pink. And I also have some like Gara. I put Gara in a couple corners of some of my beds here, and I want to do mostly annuals in these beds, but I kind of like having a couple perennials here and there, just to sort of kind of keep that interest sort of going a little more long term. And Gara is so pretty and wispy that I think like having it in the corners of some beds will kind of lend itself well to just sort of a floaty look. Now I do have some pumpkin on a stick plants in a few different places in the garden. This one is not the best looking sample, but it's about ready, as you can see, to be harvested. Got like a tomato I need to grab. This is my main tomato bed, which we're not going to spend much time on because my trellis system clearly fell over and I need to weed it. So there's a few tomatoes in there. I've kind of let it go. I'm like, next year I'm just going to do a better job with trellising. But more Pinetree giant zinnias, which the goldfinches have been eating, but that's okay. Some canary bird zinnias, so pretty. And then I planted some of this hyacinth bean vine, and I love hyacinth bean vine. It is looking so beautiful. It is climbing this 7-foot trellis, like doesn't even care. I'm definitely gonna add this to more places next year as well. This is like a repeat. I'm 100% gonna get some more seeds for these. They will put off beautiful blooms and then seed pods, but even just the flower itself I think is really pretty. And if you want just like a good vigorous vine, yeah, these are definitely the ones. I like this sort of wayward look. I've also got this pole here. I don't know exactly what's happening, but I've got a whole bunch of pole beans on this guy, and so definitely gonna do some more pole beans next year rather than bush beans. I kind of started like learning a little bit about myself, and I think just like as you garden and try different things, you realize like what you like and don't like. I found that bush beans actually grew really well for me, and I did quite a more larger plot of bush beans than I usually do, but I just found that don't really like bush beans. I like to eat them. I just don't really like picking bush beans. I feel like I end up missing a bunch of beans because I'm like trying to rip them out, and then I'm like ripping the plants out, and it's just like not a harvesting experience that I enjoy. So I think I'm going to do a lot more pole beans because I love the whimsy of them. I like harvesting standing like this. Like, this is so much easier. And the nice thing about pole beans is they just provide a continuous supply of beans. So I'm not going to be doing, probably, at least at this point, I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of like harvesting and big batches and like freezing or anything. Mostly we just eat it for, fresh eating and so forth. And so I think that pole beans are going to be the way to go. So I'm definitely going to order some more pole beans. And then actually this bed is pretty empty, but there's a few flowers. The Lilliput zinnias are just so pretty. Another one that after this year I decided I need to get more seeds for. How gorgeous are these? They're just these sweet little blooms. I think that these yellow ones are stunning. We've got a Cleome in here as well, which just adds a little pop of color. And then this is the purple stemmed asparagus. So it looks pretty normal colored now that it's going, but you can kind of see like when it comes up, the stems are actually purple. So next spring, when I'm harvesting this, it is going to have purple stems, and hopefully, well, let's see. I started this from bare, like the bare roots. So maybe I need a couple more years before I'm really harvesting it, but it's so pretty. And it's just fun to have asparagus, in your garden. It's like, I don't know, the classic thing, right? We all read, animal, vegetable, mineral. Anyways, yeah, we got to get asparagus. Then I have another little perennial section, which I think I am. So most of the beds are going to stay annuals, but I'm going to have a couple perennial sections. And this is where I've got some phlox. My milkweed is kind of on its way out. Actually, probably need to spray this. It looks like we've got some bugs, but there's a whole bunch of rudbeckias. Everything kind of getting settled in. These are all first year perennials, so they're not looking, most of them aren't looking great, although this sweet nectarine agastache is looking beautiful. And this is like another one where I'm like, I need more. I need more of this. I need all of the agastaches, and I need more particularly of this peach color. It is so beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. And the Maxima Sun Rudbeckia, wait for this for next year when it settles in and it's like a second year perennial. That's going to get super tall. That's going to be like probably 7 feet tall up here and just be really pretty in the back of the garden. I kind of want to get a few more and just kind of make this section like a big perennial flower area. I do have in here though, I did pop in earlier in spring some ground cherries, which you can see are starting to produce. Everything is just late this year, and I don't know if that was the cold temperatures that we had earlier in the spring, or if it is because this is just like the first year garden. I gotta save these for my daughter. She's gonna love these. Put those in there. So I know it was a bit of a later year for a lot of people. A lot of people's gardens had some issues. So I don't know if it was that, or just obviously, yeah, the first year garden, it just takes a little while for the garden to get going. And so maybe that's part of it. I've harvested some squash and actually gotten some squash and some cucumbers off these plants over here. My amaranth did not really take off this year, but I'm like gonna, keep shaking it and hope that we get some reseeding next year. I would love some volunteer amaranth. And yeah, these cucumber plants, this was a salad more, is it the salad more cucumber? Salad bush. This did great. Oh, look, I missed one. So producing tons and tons of cucumbers, and definitely a really good variety. Of course, now we're getting to this end of the season. It gets a little too hot and crispy for cucumbers, and so it's kind of on its way out. But that and my zucchini over there, they did actually produce, and that was very exciting. Here's another pumpkin on a stick, which you see is starting to do its thing. So that's getting ready for fall. That's exciting to see. And the okra, which clearly I have not been harvesting. I need to come out and harvest some of this. My husband does like to eat okra, but even though I haven't really stayed on top of harvesting it, I have loved having it in the garden this year. And it's just like been fun to look out and see something big and tall and growing happily, you know, just kind of to try to suppress some of the weeds. And then we've got a little radio mix cosmos. We have actually some evening sunflowers, which I also want to do more of these back here. These are some of my favorite sunflowers. I get my seeds from MIgardener and they are just gorgeous. Of course, you can see they're kind of a little bit past their like main bloom time, but they're a nice branching sunflower and so beautiful. And the arch, I've actually got some tomatoes growing on here. I've got a rose. This is the John... No, I'm forgetting the name of this rose. What is it? But a beautiful climbing rose, which just so stunning and pink. And then I actually have some cucamelons that I planted like way long ago. And again, like just now, we're getting cucamelons. This vine will go crazy typically. It just hasn't really. And I also like way early in the spring, I planted a moonflower. And that is also just barely now like taken off. And now it's about to get to the top of the top of the arch, so that's pretty cool, and maybe put off some bloom soon. Over here, this side of the arch is not looking quite as good. You can see another example though of this beautiful sunflower, looking stunning, and some more cosmos. They're just so pretty. I just need to, you know, tie things up. We've got some melons in here, some sweet potatoes. This is gonna be this is gonna be a chimney rudbeckia, but I just seeded it in the ground, and so first year perennial. It's barely coming up, but we've got some queen lime orange zinnias, which are always stunning in all of their forms. And the boxwood, most of my boxwoods for my boxwood hedging are doing pretty well. I've had a few losses. But most of them are doing pretty well. So I'm only gonna have to replace a few. I planted like 50 of these, I think. So that's pretty good. Another Gara, and then this bed is mostly emptied out. Just got a couple like pincushion flowers, and I'm sort of in that phase now of getting ready to start into the fall garden. But we do have some corn back here and another patch of asparagus. And we'll see if we get some like late season corn. And a few sunflowers are also back in this bed. So a lot of the beds are not working super hard right now because, you know, it's just, again, it's the first year garden. Like, it's just slow and steady. But we've got, this is a queen lime red zinnia. Like, is that not the most perfect zinnia? So gorgeous. Ooh, a little bit of a wind coming through. So the garden is looking really, I mean, it's just kind of empty now, but hopefully I'll plant in some cover crops and some fall things. And then look over here at the pumpkins, because we've got pumpkins, we've got birdhouse gourd and some, I can't remember which variety I planted out here, but the pumpkins are really taking off. That is encouraging to see. And I've got a whole line of pumpkins. The Jack B. Littles that I planted right here are having a harder time. But I think these are some of the gouchy, and I did the white ones. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we get some fall pumpkins. I don't know if they're gonna have time and enough sunlight to really get going, but I'm hoping eventually that this will be like my pumpkin patch. And I'll probably do pumpkins in here next year. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems like a good spot to have like a big pumpkin patch. And then I've got a bunch of lemon cucumbers in here that you can see that I forgot to harvest. But this is one of my favorite rudbeckias, Indian summer rudbeckia, which I'm probably going to transplant out into the pollinator border of the garden that I want to get going, along with this lamb's ear that's in here. There's also a little butterfly bush that I might move over there. I'm kind of deciding, but this is where I've transplanted the rose, and I've got the Joe Pyeweed and everything. And this is going to be a big border of pollinator flowers that hopefully will run all the way around the garden. So some of these perennials are going to move out there, and then some of these are going to stay. We're going to do a couple perennials in like beds. And again, we're just going to kind of see. Now, you see a lot of raised beds here. I am going to be filling those as I start emptying out the garden with some compost and then also a lot of potting soil, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. So those are all going to be filled with plants in the near future, or, you know, next season. But for right now, they're just, that's where they are. This is one of my favorite beds, which is definitely becoming like, I see this right out my kitchen window. I love the sunflowers here. This is like 100%. I should repeat doing sunflowers and flowers in this garden. My basil is just now starting to go to flower. I'm probably just gonna let it go at this point. This bed is really pretty. I was thinking it was going to be like a big herb bed, but I think probably I'm going to do more herbs in containers a little closer to the house, and then just let this be flowers. And I just absolutely like having the sunflowers right there. I just loved that so much. That was like such a standout repeat. So I might make this like annual flower bed, and do some annual flowers up here, and then have, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what I end up doing. Over here, we've got some corn. I'm gonna harvest this for fall decorations soon. I have some black-eyed peas, which are ready now. They're dry enough now that I need to come out and harvest that. I'm seeing that those are ready to go. So that'll be good to get that harvested. And then we come back around here, and you can see I've got some watermelons, which these are the Moon and Stars watermelon, which are getting close. I harvested one. It was too early, but it was still really sweet, like a little bit that was ripe enough. So we'll see how the rest of this Moon and Stars watermelons goes. Oh, here's a cucumber and a zucchini that I forgot out in the garden. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm filling like some of these beds, and then I'll put potting soil on top. Now these beds look terrible, but next year they're gonna be great, I think. So this is actually the like miniature size raspberry and a dwarf blueberry, and these are going to be like my berry beds, and I've got a repeat on the other side, so they're going to be good. They're just kind of a little crazy, and at this point now I feel like, we're just getting at the point in the season where it is what it is. I'm going to put these here and try not to forget them. All right, now let me take you to the back garden. This back garden is definitely not as developed even as that garden yet. It's again, like I have a lot of raised beds. I know I kind of just made the investment in getting some beds in here, and then I was like, I will fill them and plant them and work on that. But I just wanted to get I needed to get those big, heavy, like the big pieces, the concrete landscape pieces. Like I just need to get them in place. So just bear with me. A lot of the beds aren't full, and there's not a lot growing out here yet, but next year there will be. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time, everything to establish a garden. And, realistically, your first year garden, just doesn't look the way your garden is going to look, down the road. But I love this space back here. This is a real fun garden space. So we've got the Juliet tomato, which is loving life. Look at all these tomatoes. I gotta get my girls out here. They're gonna be so excited to pick all these tomatoes. My daughters are both my tomato pickers. So we've got tomatoes. I did try to do a squash in that container, and it didn't really work. Working on filling that up. I have my topiaries, which I just trimmed. And this is my little seating coffee in the garden kind of area. This is where I'm going to do some water gardening in here. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to keep, I have this little container pond here. I think I might just move it up into the big space. And probably do more flowers and stuff in that one. But, yeah, here's this little kind of view. It's in progress. It's all in progress still. I did get the canary bird zinnias out here are, oh my gosh, fabulous. And this is glass gem corn, which, the soil, I'm still working on building the beds. I got a couple in-ground beds here. These are some queen lime peach. And then these gorgeous corn stalks are still fun. I mean, even though they're not a full size, they're still going to be great for fall decor. And look at this. So this is canary bird zinnia. Beautiful. Some more corn. It's still gorgeous. Every part of it is still, let's see if I can get it to focus. It's still so beautiful. I love it. And actually I have a birdhouse gourd out here, which you can see is kind of grow. Oh, look. Oh, look. Oh my God, baby birdhouse gourds. That might be the cutest thing. That might be the cutest thing I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So it's growing up the side of this fence. these are my deer fences. We have a lot of deer in this area, and this is what I've been using to keep the deer out of the garden. And I've been really liking them. They've been working, knock on wood. Oh my gosh, knock on everything. I'm not quite sure, so about like growing plants on these though. I'm gonna kind of see how much weight. I think it's gonna be like too heavy. Maybe on the poles themselves, they could carry the weight. So I need to definitely think through this as far as what I let vining on the actual fence itself. But I'm gonna leave this one for now, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. If I actually get some birdhouse gourds, I'd be so thrilled. I wouldn't, hardly care. This bed is kind of just, that's all right. We'll deal with it. We'll do more with it next year. I have a little bit of that going on, but I love this space. It's coming together. It's gonna be so fun. There's so many good things happening out here. That birdhouse gourd is so stinking cute. These flowers are beautiful. I am going to be moving them shortly out to the pollinator border, but they are looking so gorgeous. It's hard for me to decide. Every time I come out here, I'm like, I like them out here. So I like having some of those beautiful, just perennial late summer flower beauty out here. But I also want it like up in the pollinator border, and it's so hard. I mean, obviously, and just go get more of these. I might have to, because they're so fun, and they're so pretty. And I'm like, should I put them in these beds, or should I just go plant them in the border? I don't know. It's probably safer to plant them into the pollinator border, because especially with different raised beds, I want to use these a lot for annuals and whether it's vegetables or flowers or anything. You just have more options, right? If you're not like committing yourself to perennials in kind of like bed spaces. I also want to give you a last update. So this trough is kind of my like nursery section. And this is where I started a bunch of seeds for perennials for next year. And they are sprouting. I like having them in here because you can see there's water below them, so they're able to get some water. I just have to kind of keep like the leaves and such off of them. But these are some, let's see, we've got some Indian summer rudbeckias back here, that whole tray. And then, okay, here's like a narrow leaf echinacea sprouting. We've got some, what's in here? This is yarrow. I don't think that was yarrow. I think I switched out that one. But yeah, there's some little sprouts happening. That's exciting. And then I did transplant a few things into some containers. These are some more of these beautiful black knight pincushion flowers, and some fun, very spooky looking peppers, which I thought I might transplant into some kind of a different pot or something and use as fall displays, either back here or up on like my front porch. So I just popped them in here when I was redoing a different bed. So yeah, this is the space back here. Oh, here's the Forever and Ever Rose, looking beautiful in its container. So much fun. I really love that. And these are some papyrus, but there's also a cattail in here too. So these are going to be living in here. Yeah, when I create the water garden in here, I think I'm just gonna set that up. And so yeah, I just need to get that kind of going. But I'm gonna wait. I don't know. I'm just kind of like taking my time with the first year garden. I think it's important to pace yourself and not overwhelm yourself with projects. So I'm working on right now to kind of like doing some of the tidying things, some of the trimming care things, and then it's going to start being some of like the ripping out things, and then the planting of cover crops and so forth, and fall plants and greens and salads and things to grow for the winter and all that kind of stuff. So I have some fun projects kind of coming up, and I'm just trying to like take it easy and not overwhelm myself with little things like that. Like I'll fill that. I can even fill that next spring once we get through the winter, because obviously the winter is a little tricky time for like ponds and so forth. But yeah, that is the garden. Thank you so much for spending some time out here. In a few years, I think it's going to look so different. It's obviously going to be more full, more robust, more settled. Right now, some of the things look a little perched, and some of the plant, beds aren't full, and raised beds are still empty, and there's no potting soil. And it's just part of that first year process. But I feel like, you know, the bones are in place, and I'm going to continue to work on filling things in and creating the garden space that I have in my mind. So keep following along, because it's only going to get better and better. As always, thank you. Thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll talk soon.